Welcome back to the show. Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of The State of Loud. The State of Loud, the State of Loud, the State of Loud, the State of Loud, State of Loud, State of Loud, the State of Loud. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of A State of Loud. I'm your host, Chris Jefferson, accompanied by the one and only AJX Beast Mode, sitting on the ones and twos, making sure we're looking tight and keeping it right here on A State of Loud. And we're here with a solo episode, man. We've had some bombs.
It's been a minute.
Some amazing guests for the past couple weeks, man. Seriously, we had Ashley Polar, we had Errol rolling through.
Shout out to Errol.
And they were just, the level of conversation during those interviews was inspiring. Like, I still to this day am like looking at some of their reels, looking at some of the stuff that we're putting out with them. And it is an ultimate pleasure to realize I got to sit in a room with some of those gems. And I can only imagine how you're feeling doing edited, but in better terms, AJ.
I get to rewatch everything, man.
Everything. Second time.
Taking notes.
Videotape.
Recordings. Saved.
Why is this man over here? So, AJ, how you doing, man? How's your week going so far?
Hey, I'm in school. So
I heard.
I'm back in school for y'all watching that don't know. I'm back in school.
Gang. Back in the school world. That's what I'm talking about.
Studying that finance, man. That finance. So
that money.
Yeah, man. We outside doing a lot for the community. You know, I'm finishing up a few projects. I got another thing on Friday. Yeah, we're moving. That's all I can say. We're moving. Living situation is pretty good. Everything is.
Man's out here saying life is gold.
No. It's going well.
I'm not mad. Let's celebrate that.
Well.
Why are we not celebrating the wins, bro?
It's going well, man.
That's a huge thing. That's a huge thing. I'm very happy to hear that, man. Sounds like a blessed life. Super happy for you, my guy. I think we need to celebrate more things like that in life, right? It's interesting because today's topic, I wanted to start out talking a little bit about like authenticity, keeping it real and knowing what your value is. Because I've heard recently that the reason why we have so many insecure people in this world, especially when it comes to our teens who may have social anxiety, depression, just regular general anxiety, whatever it may be, boils down to their self-worth. Now, for the longest time, we have conversations revolving around social media, cell phones, and content like that, and we often say too much of it isn't a good thing. I read something the other day where they said the reason why we have so many youth with low self-esteem is because of the content in which they are absorbing shows only the results and not the actual work put into place.
Not the journey.
So when they do absorb this content, they are more or less learning, being taught that what I should strive for is the fruits, not even the fruits of my labor, the results at the end of the rainbow, but they're not being taught what the work is that is needed to succeed. And I think you're right, because if you look at everything in our world right now when it comes to marketing, it is very much geared towards image, right? Where we'll take politics, for example. People will like you as long as you align with what they believe. People will believe what you say if you look and talk and walk a certain way. We literally have people that we call politicians, right? Not really looking at who the people are, what they do, what they stand for, and what things they have done. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, and everyone's like that. But for me, it kind of looks like we do stand wholeheartedly on image. Now, growing up, and AJ, I would love your partners as well. Growing up, I didn't know where my favorite idols lived. Like when I was younger watching Michael Jordan play, I didn't know where he lived. I didn't know what kind of car he drives, what kind of house he had, what kind of clothes he wore. I knew he was good on the court. And I feel like we've taken a major turn for that. So because I feel like now there's a lot more emphasis on what they look like and what their life looks like instead of really understanding the quality in which they have. I mean, where do you see that effect coming in your generation?
I would say so nowadays we don't, like, I would say the Jordans and the Kobe's of our time are the YouTubers.
Ooh.
Right? So I would say like people like, I'm talking about like the OGs, so like DDG.
Would you call Swoozie a Jordan?
Oh yeah,
Swoozie,
yeah,
super OG YouTube.
Yeah,
I met him once. I met him once at Hello Guys in the city. Big shout out to Swoozie.
Yeah, shout out.
Love to have
Swoozie,
you on the
man.
show if you're in the area, bro.
Yo, but yeah, I would say yeah, he's definitely an OG. But like even people like Dashy and Corey X Kenshin, Like these are the Jordans and Kobe's of our time. Now
Mm.
you got a lot of teens and even young adults trying to do exactly what these guys have done.
Mm.
And it's only a few of them that have gotten the success that they got because through YouTube they got to show that process. It wasn't just like, okay, I'm here, I'm famous and making all this.
So they got to show you the hard work.
They got to show the hard
And
work,
even
yeah.
then, you probably don't understand how much work it took to even put into that video because they had to edit it. They had to film it, however many takes that took. They had to edit it, color grade it, add any automations into it, and then upload it. And I think people don't realize how much work that takes, right?
And imagine if you're a younger person seeing them at the top of their career.
Ooh, you have no clue the years it took for him to get there,
Yeah,
right?
You didn't see them because I seen DDG like when he started off when he didn't have. He was walking around with the tripod and camera.
Jeez.
But now he's with Haley. You know they got a baby. You see the success.
Yes.
Now you're a young person that's just now stumbling across them.
Now you're seeing more the result, and it's interesting, right? Because when YouTube started, everyone was an amateur.
Yep.
Now, because you have people that have come up through the YouTube channel and YouTube portal, they almost take on the professionalism of regular television shows. And it's interesting because we don't realize that 99% of the production you see on television shows is scripted. It's planned. The sets, the lighting, the outfits, the makeup, the look, the camera, the lenses, the sound, everything, right? Even the laugh tracks in live studio audience shows sometimes are added in to tell people when to laugh at jokes. And that to me is interesting because YouTube is originally supposed to be about raw, authentic experiences. And I feel like the people that are providing that are still flourishing, like in a long term, right? Like I still watch Swoozy's video when they pop up because I know it's going to be fire. His storytelling is great. And I just stumbled upon a guy yesterday. Black gentleman, loves riding his Harley, and he's debunking all the myths about racial culture and the differences in America as a Davidson rider. Like he went to Sturgis and he was like, people told me black people aren't welcome in Sturgis. So I went with my friends, had a great time. Like he's openly being out there in a different part of the world in which we here in the city, I would say we're in a metropolitan area. Anything but New Jersey, New York is you're in a metropolitan area we don't see. Right. And there's so many other communities out there that are the same and we don't think about it. It's kind of wild to think how sheltered we are. It's almost as if you're in a major city, your focus is on consumption more than creation. Right. And then we even make creation about our consumption. I'm going to make a video about my new Lamborghini being delivered. My creation is you watching me consume. Go back further. The first creations based on consuming reaction videos.
Yo, it's a lot of crazy YouTubers that got popping off of that now,
right?
Making bigger content,
right? And that to me,
that's crazy.
That to me is interesting. I don't even need to create originally. I just need to be creating while watching. I create while I'm consuming. It's and I originally wasn't going to go down this field with this conversation, but do you think? Why do you think people even care about watching people consume things?
I think what it is similarly to, I believe, what Amir talked about. They want a certain reaction based off of what they believe in. So like say
a story almost.
Basically like a story that the person viewing could relate to. So like if they got a person doing reaction videos, right? And they might have watched the video that the person reacting to the video watched, right? Or is watching. They're looking at that like, oh, what if he thinks about the same thing that I was thinking about in the video?
AJ, so you're telling me people are looking to reaction videos to have a sense of agreeance, belonging, and community.
And that's also why not every reaction channel is super popular.
Because
they have a select few of.
Because I think that your reaction is either how I'm feeling or how I'd like to feel.
Or just super relatable, and then when you react. Oh, I also reacted that way.
Oh, yeah. Did you see that? His reaction was hilarious. Did you see that? I can trust his reaction to be real.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's even more of a lack of trust of self at this point, lack of identity, being okay with what you believe. That's heavy.
Shout out to we talking about reaction videos. Shout out to No Light Shack, because I know he one of the top reactors when it comes to like the music scene. Everybody goes to him.
See, I think that's a little different.
that
If
popped up in
someone
my head,
if
like,
someone
okay.
puts out music and you're reviewing it,
Mhm.
I'm okay with that. If you're just sharing your judgment whether you like it, and people tend to view your taste as being trustworthy, I'm okay with that. It's just, I guess, to me, that kind of goes back to that thing of people not feeling a sense of self and a sense of worth. I need you to tell me what's good. I need you to tell me what's okay. I need you to tell me how I should be, how to act. Because, I mean, let's be honest here. Doing the work to be great is not easy.
It's not.
It takes a lot. Like, if you ever trained for any type of race or competition in your life that took longer than a week or so, you realize that the consistency of hard work it takes to get the results is difficult. If you've ever been overweight and tried to get in really good shape, you realize how much work it takes. If you've ever tried to educate yourself and then build up an industry, you realize how much work it takes. And to not have that as a celebratory content for an entire generation, we can't blame them for not wanting to put in the work to get to the finish line when we aren't even realistically showing them what it is.
Exactly.
That's kind of crazy. We are building everything in the world to look great, wonderful, but we're not pushing for the actual work. Right? I mean, am I like it? I mean, am I missing the beat here? Like, are we still praising the amount of work? Because I feel like brands praise work. Nike just do it. They always got the top athletes. But are even the athletes portraying their work?
I mean, it's changing now. But
It's changing now. Why do you say that?
because most of the people that are on these billboards now, even with Nike, are not really working out for the industry.
Mm.
It's to portray or showcase another image to another audience.
Oh wow. So before we could get the athlete, but now we can tell you a lifestyle.
Now people are very sensitive about talking about, if you're overweight. So they
I mean,
push that
because the ego is a tender thing, right? And it's, how can I say this? We all want to be comfortable.
you got to work out. You better.
We all want to be comfortable in life, and sometimes the truth hurts. I'm not saying that if you see something about somebody that maybe they don't know that you should go up to them. I don't think you should do that, because that, like, you're not necessarily doing them a favor. Like, if you see someone that's overweight and you feel that I need to go up to you and say something derogatory, or like, hey, you're fat, and or make fun of them, you're not doing them a service.
Exactly.
But if but that's a thin line.
Criticism, like telling somebody,
It's even hard to do that. Let's be honest here. Constructive criticism, if we're leading with ego, right? Most of us as human beings, it's hard to get criticized. Even for me, I'm always trying to get better, and there's still part of me that has to take a breath and realize and understand that the criticism may be coming from a place of good, depending on who's giving it. If you're going to put yourself out there and be a pro in any field, you have to be open to criticism. Yeah. It's the only way you get better, and to learn from other people, right? But that's where I think you have to be trusting in it, but we don't really trust each other. So it's kind of a rabbit hole with things. But I think at the end of the day, we have to be willing to be honest with ourselves and what we want, and go on that journey with it. Because I don't think we can rely on other people, places, or things to tell us unless we really can trust those people. Very true. Because it really does boil down to real content. I probably say this a lot. And I remember saying this to a young man today. If you want to be successful at whatever it is you want to do, it takes two things. It takes hard work and consistency. And I'm going to add the third thing is blunt honesty with yourself and your performance. Because when you try to take the shortcut, you miss all the nuances of life with anything. Like, and I'm not putting anyone down that takes any of these things, because they may have a purpose for it. But like, when we do things like take weight loss pills, when we have weight loss surgery, when we use Cliff Notes when studying for an exam, when we don't take the time to go through the journey and hard work to get there, when we buy a way to the front seat, right? You're missing out on so many skills that you gain, not just the skills, the life lessons that come along with it, and the strengths, right? Because let's be honest here. I've trained for different endurance races in my life. I've weightlifted. There's no way to cheat that stuff. Through learning and growing through the experience of running and exercising, I usually end up learning more about myself as a person than I do what my physical feats are. And most people don't realize like they can go hand in hand. Because when you're like, I run with no music. People tell me I'm a weirdo. Like
I did that.
I work out with nothing, right? Like you just there working out. It can be, right? Because we don't want to face the discomfort.
Especially running out. Like if you got headphones in, even if they're not wired, just having that there, you're checking. Oh, they might drop. Then you got to get out your phone.
And the music they showed that people can run 18% faster with music on their headphones than with no music. But most sanctioned races, you can't use headphones. Yeah. So to me, it's knowing, because if you have nothing to distract you and you're pushing yourself physically, your brain's going to bring up everything in your mind that's going to stimulate you to try to say, I need something more extreme than this physical fitness I'm going through. You can learn from that. David Goggins does ultra marathons, and he wrote in his book that after a race, the part he really embraces more than just the race is when his mind and his body shut down. Because then he says every trauma and anything in his life that's in his closet comes to surface. Why? Because the body is like, I'm hurting. I need to give you something that's not going to hurt as bad. Distract me from physically, but stimulate me mentally. Traumas come back up. And if you don't put yourself through that, you're going to lose that. It's why I think we lose so much information looking to take shortcuts, and people don't get the confidence of doing the work. Like the work is fun. Like I thought about this the other day. There are many things in my life I want to achieve and things I want to have. A lot of material things I want to have. House, car, certain type of clothes, different things like that, right? But I've learned when I obsess about those things, I'm only obsessing about the end goal. And it's taking my focus away from doing the work needed to actually achieve them in the first place. And it's the hardest thing to say, I need to let go of the end goal and focus on now to get to where I want to be. That it almost sucks because you're like,
I'm definitely going through that now.
Right? Yeah. Talk about that, please.
Yo, so that's definitely, I would say.
Speak to the mic. Let the people hear you.
Yeah. Let me speak
or at least
to y'all.
Move it closer to you.
Let me speak to y'all real quick, people. So one of the biggest things with me right now, right? Because I'm putting it together, putting the LLC together, right? Putting the business together, and right now I've been so like. And it's pushed me now in the present, but sometimes I do get caught up in thinking about, okay, this is like when this goes right, oh, I'm gonna have this or I'm gonna have that,
yeah,
and it takes me away sometimes from just the experiences that I'm literally going through now, or things that I'm seeing now, things that I'm doing now, right? So that's definitely heavy. Like that's,
and think about the things that you may miss out on, a lesson you may learn, information you may not grasp, because you're saying, I'm uncomfortable where I'm at. Let me think about the finish line that's going to feel good. Something you may pick up that may save you from making a mistake twice and save you aggravation and stress if you just faced it immediately.
You know what's crazy? That you said that. So the gig, I'm going to just say the gig. I'm not going to say who. But
I love when you give the precursor. I'm not going to give them up. Don't guess in the comments.
So it's Monday. Guy hit up, boom. Can you come out, do this, blah, blah. Monday is also the day that I was supposed to start, or I did start the math. But beforehand, I was going to text the professor and see if I can miss that day just for the gig, because I was talking to Bree about, oh yeah, the money had come in clutch and all this stuff. She was like, you'll get the money, but she had to. I listened. I sat there and listened, and she was basically like, you're basically getting this for free. If you miss out on this, you're gonna miss out on, you might have to pay something come the fall.
Yo,
and because I was thinking, I'm thinking in the moment, I'm like, of course bills got to get paid, all this stuff.
Yes, sir.
I'm like, yo, I got to make this money. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna just hit them up Monday as soon as possible. So, you get it as soon as possible off rip. Instant gratification, never a good thing. And she just sat there. She was like, it's not a smart idea. And I'm like, I sat there, thought about it. And she started talking to me about it, about how much money you're saving, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, the long-term investment.
And then she was even saying, even if it is just one day, right? Because you might miss out on taking an exam. Now you're behind. Now you got to take that exam the second day, and now you could have had that done the first day. So her having that conversation with me, I went in person, did the exam, knocked out everything. Now, come the days or the last few days, I haven't had to worry about nothing other than practicing my quizzes and stuff like that.
So yeah, man. So you made a good point about.
It's always good to have that person too.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yo, shout out to her. Shout out to all the people supporting people in their journey.
Thanks.
Because that you made an important important point about knowing when to focus on the bigger picture. Mm-hmm. Because, like, especially when you get real close and you could see it right in front of your face, you're going to want to throw everything away and say, I'm right here. And you're going to want to reach out for the finish line, thinking everything's going to fall in place and I made it. That's when you need to focus the most.
Yep.
That's when it's going to be the hardest. It's going to be the toughest. That's when you have no energy left. You're going to make the most mistakes. You're going to feel the most stressed out. But that last couple of feet is what's going to take you there. Mm-hmm. That is the grit and the location where you lose most of the people. I've learned that in my life. Like, when things get really tough because you have to change, you have to grow, that's when a lot of people are like, nah, this is too much. This ain't meant for me. I have to give up. And I've always believed in it, like, no, just keep going. Just keep going. Don't give up yet. Try one more day. And there's been times in my life, even now, where I'm like, yeah, I'm done. This is stressful. I can't. I don't want to do this anymore. And I look back behind me and I go, what's your alternative? You know what life is like if you don't do this, if you don't put in the work. What's the alternative? I remember certain things people say to me. I remember David Goggins said in his book, when you're tired, you're usually only 40% tired.
Yeah.
You got 60% left. Keep going. And till this day, when I run in the morning, I say to myself, you're not tired. That's only 40%. Keep going. Mm-hmm. And I think it's heavily important that we realize that about ourselves, that we do have more left in us to keep going. It's difficult. Find the answer, which brings me to my next point, intent. A lot of people talk about hard work and putting in the work, and that's important, but having intent behind that hard work is just as important, if not more. Because what does Denzel Washington say? You could run in place, but knowing where you want to go is going to help you get there. There's a part in a book called The Roadmap to Success, where the author states that he met with a gentleman that wanted his help on what he wanted to do. No. Wrong book. Not The Roadmap to Success. This is The Art of Thinking Big.
Oh.
I believe that's kind of the book, right? Special guest in the corner we're not going to name. Yeah. Big shout out to SK the Ghost. Can't even see him today. But yeah, in The Art of Thinking Big, he talks about a gentleman that was ambitious. He was in a job he really didn't like, and he said to himself, well, I want to help you, but what do you want to do? And he said, I never gave a lot of thought to that. And he said, well, if you don't know where you want to go, I don't know how I can help you. And that became that hit me so vividly, because everybody out here is networking blindly, throwing out my fishing rod and hoping I catch something.
The minute you have a conversation with somebody, is networking.
But we say it as if it's an activity, but we don't go in with intent of what we're looking for.
Yep.
And that can really hinder you, because you can go into many rooms with hundreds of people, but if you don't know what you're looking for, how can you connect with them? How can you say, this is what I'm looking for and this is what I want to do? And I think that's where we get lost. People don't tell you those little tidbits. Yep. That networking is important, but knowing what you're looking to get out of a room and what aligns with you is even better. I've been in rooms with other people where I start talking about one thing I do, but what I really connect with them is a completely other thing. I'll lead with things that I do for the community, and then I'll talk about my media company. And they're like, oh, yeah, media company? Oh, my God, we want to do a documentary with somebody. We look for someone. Let's talk. I was talking to you about community stuff. Good thing I talked about it. My good friend Jeff made a huge point at the last...
Shout out Jeff, yo.
Yeah, big shout out to Jeff, OTW, man. He's doing his thing up in North Hudson. Him and Leo, big shout out. At the last meeting we had, he asked people to talk about the things they do outside of their jobs. And I'm here to say this. There's not many
Not a lot of people.
networking circles, employers, businesses that highlight the skills you have outside of what feeds them.
Mm.
I can automatically tell you I've been in multiple places where I've had my bosses literally undermine the things I did in my free time or liked. To each their own. They're very much allowed to have that. But I don't think they put into reality of making it feel like when I come to work, I have to just be the person you want me to be and I can't be my full wholehearted self.
Yeah.
I have to hide that. And a big shout out to Jeff, because when he did that, it allowed so many more people to connect. Because now the room was filled with so much more opportunity and skill than just what our companies do and what our companies hire us to pay us to do. Not everybody's in their passion being paid for their job yet. There's probably so much. I met a gentleman who's an artist. We're going to have him on the show very soon. Only because literally he found out how to podcast. And then literally he would help me stuff with work. I was like 2-for-1 deal, bonus, high five. But if we didn't openly share those vulnerable conversations of what we do outside of work, because it's a little taboo, we wouldn't have worked together. We wouldn't have built where we wanted to be, man. And it kind of bothers me that we want to minimize people. I think we need to maximize people. Like, yes, we hate losing good employees, but I think as leaders, as bosses, as managers, mentors, supervisors, your goal should be to embrace the people you work with and to lead by example.
I will also add, you can't control someone who's fully operating out of their creative energy too.
True.
It's harder to control them. So this is why a lot of companies, when they are hiring, right, they do hiring in, it's like a specific order, or even with school, right, it's certain things that are required that puts you in, I guess, this box of like, it's kind of robotic in a sense. And it takes you away from that creative spark. It takes you away from that energy.
And that's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
Because the essence of your being, of what you're going to be able to portray your best self, performing your best self, and be the best way you can be is lying within that creative space in which you want to live. Mm-hmm. And yet companies are like, nah, not here.
Imagine if companies said, if you had companies that said, okay, if you work with this company, but we will help fund you outside of what you're doing here, you will have better employees.
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that you embraced the creative side of your employee, where maybe I don't even necessarily think we just need to fully embrace your creative side. I think if you just open up a platform and allow them to share it creatively, network creative, give people a space to express themselves.
Or have moments, because I did this with sales, mainly because it was MLM, low-key, just backed it. But that's a whole nother story.
Really? We're not going to talk about that.
We're not going to talk about that.
Bleep that out.
But yeah, so I think just having early morning meetings to where you're allowing the employees that's working for the company to actually express themselves, just having that on like there, like having that there.
But I think you should even more or less, you don't even have to take such a big step. Care about your employees outside of the job. So many people are afraid of getting to know their employees. But for me, at least what I've learned, if I'm working with you, I need to know who you are outside this position and job. That's going to show me who you truly are. Every person that I've ever embarked on a major program or a major project with, we're going out to dinner. I need to invite you out to something.
Let me see where your mind.
I need to understand who you are outside of this frame in which we created for your job. Because if I'm going to be working with you and building with you, I need to know your full strengths, your essence, and what your passion is and what drives you. Because we keep trying to, and many managers do this, right? I used to do it myself. We spend 8 hours a day, if not more, with people, and then we act as if we can't get to know them personally, as if that's going to challenge our authority. That automatically shows me you're not being a leader, you're being a manager. Because a leader could learn all these things about you, still hold a place of authority, and you realize this is my manager, this is my supervisor, this is my manager, my boss. They're here to embrace my journey, make me better at what I do and what aligns with me. and to keep me moving. But I feel like we're so afraid of the growth of those we work with, maybe outshining us, or they get too big, they're going to leave, that a lot of leaders don't get involved into building their people up like that. And that sucks, because it means we have a bunch of people trying to keep you down, prop me up, do what I need you to do, but don't step out of your place.
Yep.
That's kind of wild, though. I feel like we really need to embrace people, but it boils down into now this one is in the book, your roadmap to success, where they say sometimes it's not. It's good to help someone leave the job. Actually, no, that may be The Art of Drinking Big, man. I'm reading 2 books at one time, so they get a little mixed up. But in one of the books, they definitely stated that sometimes the best thing you can do is help someone else find a place to be. A guy had an employee. He was underperforming, underwhelmed. Most people would just fire you. This person said, this is obviously not what you want. The best thing I could do for you is find you someplace that allows you to be.
That's dope.
And the boss helped him find a new career, gave him a recommendation, put him into the job, and he got the job and he's doing even better. That's amazing. Like, because think about it. If I run a company and I have an employee not doing well, but I know he can do well, it doesn't align, and I have someone else that runs a company that could use an employee that he has the skills, why am I not going to help my employee out and then help my boy out with his company?
That's also a great leader, though. Great boss.
No, because it's not about
pay attention.
It's not about being better, right?
Yeah.
It's about helping everyone be better.
Understanding that I'm just like you.
Bro,
like me.
If I'm not teaching you and giving you something, what am I here for?
What am I? Yeah, exactly.
Am I because I need to feel needed? Nah, can't do that. Can't do that in any way, shape, or form, man. That's why I encourage people, when you start taking accountability, when you take the initiative, when you step up and do the work and show it, there are going to be people that see it. We just can't be afraid to step forward. We can't be afraid to get up, make that move, and go after what we want.
Yeah.
Scary. It's rare. We talk about this a lot. Go for it and do it. It's just, I really want you, the viewers out there, to start asking yourself, what's real to me? Start even smaller. Why do I like the things I like? And don't take because it's cool for an answer. What about it speaks to you?
You got to go very, very down. Get deep with it.
Yeah. Is there a nuance? Did I grow up listening to this? Is this somebody important in my family introduced me to this? Does this speak to a part of my life that I can relate to? Is there trauma in there that I can relate to? Is there a healing property I relate to? Is it an emotional connection that I can relate to? Why do I like the things I like? And then go from there, man. Because bottom line, if you don't know where you're going, you'll end up anywhere. And if you don't know what you want, people can't help you. Yep. It's a beautiful thing, man. I hope and wish that we live in a world that starts embracing people's journeys more and stops trying to put them in box for less. Now, don't get me wrong. We need people to do jobs and we need to make money. Course. But I feel like we're going to get to a place where that's not necessarily going to be the case. And you're going to have the availability to talk a little more. But AJ.
Yes, sir.
It's getting hot in here. And I think you wanted to start a new segment.
90 degrees.
90 degrees, the hot topic of the day for this show. So what hot topic did we talk about? Did we decide?
You already know. The blue and the red.
Oh, the election coming up. Oh, man. Hot topic of the day, the election. I'm sure you guys have probably been watching debates, keeping your eyes and ears on the news and seeing what's going on. I dabbled in a little. I don't watch the news very much, but I look at current events. And I dabbled in a little bit, and it was interesting because literally we have 2 gentlemen, both previous presidents, one current, one previous. And I'm going to be honest, I'm a little concerned.
He's joining his Netflix right now.
It is very
entertainment.
I'm not entertained at all. I'm kind of scared.
Right.
And not fully. Some of it's, yeah, when I think seriously, I'm scared. But surface wise, oh, absolutely. People are eating this up through entertainment. Like there was a part of the debate where they were arguing about golf swings. I was like, this is a movie. This is a cartoon. This is 2 grumpy old men. Is anyone watching this? I didn't. Well, you watch clips. But I guess my concern is, are we not taking the presidential seats serious enough.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we are, like, think about the presidential seat as like the boss of your company. Who do you want running the company?
How do you feel about this? You're a Jefferson.
I am a Jefferson. Yes. Big shout out to my dad.
Yeah. Shout out to the founding fathers too, man.
Sure. They put the plan together.
Yeah,
Well, we got the whole United States.
Somewhat. Shout out. But you know what
I mean, a lot of bad happened after that. A lot of bad. Oh God. Really, AJ? Loop me into that one. Woo. What are you asking me? What I feel about what?
And I was just asking that, just because of the name.
I mean, I don't look at my last name as a any more of a right to feel a certain way in the politics than anybody else. To me, it boils down to leadership that embraces the best side for its people. I would like to see both parties not lead by inducing fear, but inducing hope and actually meaning it behind those changes. I think we've been in a society where politics have used fear as a means of getting you to vote for them. I'm better than that guy because he does that bad stuff, and I'm better at that because he does that bad stuff. And I just think living a life trying to avoid the bad things is never like fulfilling at all.
It's always gonna it'll catch up to you.
So to me, I think we're in a place where we're trying to avoid the hard things, right? We're avoiding the work to get to where we want to be. We're avoiding working out to get in shape. We're avoiding reading that book to gain the knowledge and get the book report done. And we're kind of avoiding doing the work as a society to work together politically as we should, because we are people and people are complicated. But at the same time, we're super simple beings where majority of us just want the same thing. We want to be able the right to make a good living, to support ourselves and our family in a safe neighborhood, access to education, clean water, decent food, a place to live, and clothing. Anything outside of that is the uniqueness of a person and their desires. And I don't think that we should limit that to any being and almost make most of those things a right to you. So I guess when I look at the presidential debate, I just want to say that whatever happens, I think America is going to continue. But what I do think that we need to consider is who are the people we're putting in the seats, and what does that represent? Are they just a figure sitting there to be the leader of our party, or do they have actual ideals and things that they want to accomplish that abide to help us as an overall nation? Like I said, when we don't know ourselves and we don't feel that we are worthy, it's easier for us to spend more time telling somebody else they shouldn't have something than fighting for what we want. Just food for thought. It's going to be interesting on all levels. I do see some really good change coming up. Like I said, I'm open to listening and seeing what's going on. I don't pay a whole lot of attention to daily news, way too much consumption. I'd rather read books and build the things I'm doing. But it is important to stay informed. I just got to say, as America, we have a lot of healing to do. I don't ever want to say that we can do better, because we can always do better. I think we have a lot of healing to do. And I think there's a lot of grace in that healing. I see a lot of beautiful moves by a lot of beautiful people. I'm excited to be a part of it. I'm excited to where it's going. I think it's going to be a heck of a journey. So like I said, if you're paying attention to the debates, just, let down that ego a little bit. Don't get so angry at the other side. Make sure that your person is saying things that you think can benefit us as a nation. And by all means, if you're watching the news and TV and you've never met anyone that has lived in an area or done anything that they're speaking of, or looks like any of the people that they're portraying or anything out, go out and find out for yourself. Just because there's a lot of people that don't look like you that may have similar values and agreements with you that you may not know of, because we're only portrayed in one way when it comes to entertainment. So be open to people is what I'm saying. Go have a conversation with someone you don't know, someone that don't look like you, doesn't have the same belief systems, and see what happens. I guarantee you're going to learn something both about them and yourself. So with that being said, AJ, I kind of think that's a wrap.
Okay.
AJ, got anything on your mind? Tell the people what you want to say for the day.
Oh, man. Sheesh. It's so much I can't necessarily get out here. So Stay tuned. If you guys haven't already, you know I gotta plug it. Subscribe to AJ's Beast on YouTube. Also, I just created the official YouTube channel for FTB, so you guys can see all of my work there. And see my digital portfolio of all of the work that I have completed and that I will complete. We're moving. We're moving. Things are moving. Life is moving. Shout out to NJCU. Shout out to just life. Shout out to Bree. Shout out to everyone. Everybody that's doing things to make sure that that themselves or them and themselves or the people around them are doing good. There we go.
Yes, sir. Thank you, AJ, for that inspiring word to the people.
Yeah, man.
Like always, man. I hope you guys are out there living your best life, being safe, healing from your traumas, so you don't put on anybody else, and understanding it's okay not to be okay. As always, if you tuned in this long, we're going to ask you to like, subscribe, hit the bell so you always know when we're coming out. We usually put it out every Monday at 7 a.m. I want to thank all the guests that are coming on. AJ for being in here with me today in this hot July day. SK the Beast, SK the Ghost, sitting out in the back, just kind of joining up.
There can only be one.
Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in as much. We hope we kind of sparked a little bit of interesting thoughts in your mind for today. We hope that you tune in again. We'll be talking about some more fire hot topics on our solo episodes. Stay tuned for more amazing people coming up in the show. And as always, it's nothing but love. Peace.